Alright, welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. A little bit of different video here today. As you can see, we're sitting on the ramp in the Baron 58. Engines running all ready to go, because the other day I was actually flying the Just Flight BAE 146 and obviously flying without the FMS and just doing VOR navigation, and arrived at an airport that only had a DME ARC arrival. And so I realized then that I haven't done DME ARCs for a long time and needed a bit of practice. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're here on the ground at Gaborone in Botswana. And it just so happens that this is kind of the closest airport to home that actually has a DME ARC. I couldn't actually find any airports in South Africa that have DME ARC arrivals. I know Maputo in Mozambique has, and Gaborone has as well. So that's what we're going to be doing. So yeah, the plan is to take off runway 8, and we will be doing the runway 8 Zulu VOR arrival, which includes this DME ARC. So I've got it loaded up in the GPS as well. We're not actually going to be using the GPS except for a reference. We're going to be flying this completely manually. So what I also want to do here is just set this to localizer, and let's go and bring up the chart. Alright, so here we have the ILS Zulu arrival or approach for runway 08, and you can see we have this initial approach fix, MROC in the north and Dustro in the south. We're going to be taking off runway 8, and we'll kind of do a circuit pattern out and then out to MROC. So we'll be using MROC for our initial approach fix. 6,000 feet is our altitude, and then we need to fly this 12 DME ARC from the Gaborone VOR, which is 114.0, around to the 269 degree radial from Gaborone, and then it's where we begin our turn to line up with the ILS 078 degrees. So we need to set up some frequencies here. Okay, so nav 1 we need to set 1140. So away. Okay, so that's set, and first of all, we need this 301 radial on our course. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's just reset our barrow there. Okay, so we're going to fly a circuit pattern to the left until we intercept this radial, which will take us directly to MROC at 12 DME. So probably 11.8-ish DME we'll start our turn, maybe a little bit sooner. 11.5 DME we'll start our turn to intercept the DME ARC, and we're going to use the turn 10 pull 10 method, I think it's called. So once we reach MROC, we'll do a 90 degree turn, and then we will turn our course to match, and then add 10 to that. And once we intercept that course, we'll then turn left 10 degrees and push our course left another 10 degrees. And each time we reach that course, we will keep turning left 10 and pushing the course another 10. So we kind of want to be flying perpendicular to the course line. And that makes it kind of easy, because it means if you're too close, you just need to fly, in this case, because we're turning to the left, we need to fly to the right of that perpendicular mark from the course line. And if we're too far, we need to fly to the left, so we eventually get closer to that arc. So that's going to be the plan. Like I said, I haven't done this for a long time, so this is a bit of practice. I'm not a real pilot or professional pilot or anything, so this is all just for fun and just for a bit of a challenge and a bit of practice to do some DME arcs. Okay, I think that's all we need. Do have that set, and we do have that set. We can also set our altitude to 6,000, which it actually already is somehow. Right. And I think we are good to go. Let's go ahead and close that down. Right, so let's go ahead and taxi out to the runway here. And we'll take off from 08. Attempt at least to fly this DME arc as best as we can. Really don't need that much. Doesn't hurt to have extra runway behind us. In front of us, not behind us. I think this is the closest taxiway anyway. Right, so just before we enter the runway here, let's turn on the landing lights, off the taxi lights, and turn on the strobes. Okay, one thing we must do once we line up with the runway is to sync our heading, because we're going to use that to help us fly the pattern. So I'm going to be doing this on autopilot just to make my life a little bit easier to start off with, and then eventually we can progress to flying this, to hand flying completely, which is the ultimate goal. Okay, there we are, nice and lined up with the runway. Sync our heading. Into heading mode. Cool. Let's go ahead and take off here. And we do have flaps 1 for takeoff. Positive rate, we can go gear up. And we can go flaps up as well. Okay, then for this exercise, we want to stay around 135. 130, I suppose 130 to 140 knots will be okay, but 135 I think is going to work nicely. Alright, so let's go and turn the autopilot on. Bring the power back a little bit, as we don't need to be crazy. Bring this oh yeah, alright, these work backwards, so we want to be at about 135. It's not doing at all. Okay, that's interesting. Why is it not? we'll manage it with our power. Right, now that we've spent too much time messing around with that, let's do our 90-degree turn here. And we're almost at 6,000 feet. About 800 feet to go. Let's go ahead and do another 90-degree turn. Okay, and this time we're going to maintain this heading until we intercept that radial. Take us out to Imrock. Okay, and keeping an eye on the speed now because we're about to start leveling off, so we'll bring the power back to keep it around 135 knots. Just went straight past 6,000. Oh, I see why. This is not actually the altitude. It's my fault. That's actually a restriction for Imrock. I looked at the wrong place. That's why flight level change didn't want to work either. Shows you how often I fly the Baron. Okay, so we're now at 6,000 feet. Okay, now we just keep an eye on our localizer here. Oh, navigation display, so we can make sure we intercept this radial. Being a little slow. Right, and we can just compare with the GPS when we're coming up to that radial. It's passing the airport again now. Okay, that radial is now moving, so let's go into nav mode. Put us on the 301 radial to Imrock. Right, now what we need to do is come down here, and on here we need me. And so this is now back to the Gaborone VOR, and we are looking to arc at 12 DME. The other thing that we can do is just here for our secondary nav frequency, let's put in the ILS frequency, which is 1099. So we can flip that over just now. Okay, so just coming up to almost 7 DME from the VR. And the goal obviously is to keep that as close to 12. I think you're supposed to try and do it within 1 DME. We want to try and keep that as close to 12 as possible throughout our turn. Okay, then our ILS intercept altitude is 5,100 feet. So once we make our turn to intercept the ILS, we can actually start descending to 5,100. Okay, coming up to 10 DME. Let's start preparing for this turn now. I'm going to set this to about 90 degrees. Actually, probably a little bit more than 90. So 210 should work. And then what I actually want here is the aircraft to go into roll mode so that we can go and set our course to be the other way. So essentially just facing directly behind us. Right, we should have turned a little bit earlier than that actually. There's 12.1. So in that case, we want to get a bit closer. Let's dial this down a bit. Right, and we can bring our course left 10 degrees now. So we were at 120, so we'll do 110. And keep coming closer to that course line because we're a bit far. Okay, so we're matching up to the course line. Let's dial that another 10 down. Right, and we're coming up to 12 again, so let's make sure we are perpendicular to this. What I should have actually done is done this the other way, because that'll make our lives a lot easier for determining where that 269 radial is. This thing moves so slowly. Makes it kind of difficult to do this quickly. Okay, so let's go 10 degrees down, which would have actually been 270, so we'll do the 269, and we are a little bit close, so we can stay off to that angle. Once we reach this radial, we'll slowly start our turn to intercept the ILS, and then we're going to turn this all the way around again, because we're coming up to that radial now, all the way down to 78 degrees, which is our ILS course. I'm sure in reality you can turn this a lot faster. Okay, so we can start our turn anytime now. These turns, I believe, are made for faster, larger aircraft anyway, so if we started a bit late, we should still be fine. Okay, we're going to put ourselves on our nice intercept heading there. Need to flip this over to the ILS. And now in reality, if you were doing this VFR, you'd have to be looking out the windows at the same time as well. So quite a lot going on. And of course, we've got a glass cockpit here as well. Okay, let's now dial our altitude down to 5,100. We can start our descent. There comes the ILS, so let's go. And we can actually put it in approach so that we'll intercept the glide slope as well. Okay, then looking at the chart, we want to be at 5,100 feet by the time we reach 5.7 DME. We're at 8.5, so we can... Oh, we've actually already intercepted the glide slope, so that's okay. So we'll keep our speed up until about 5 DME and we can start slowing down. And then what I think we'll do is we'll go around for another attempt. See if we can just do it a little bit better. Let's bring the throttle back with 5.5 DME now. Start slowing down. Okay, we can give out the first notch of flaps. There's the outer marker. Right, let's bring the gear down. Okay, what we can do to prepare for our next run is just sync the heading. And we will reset our altitude to 6,000. Okay, let's start slowing down. Go flaps for landing. That'll bring the speed down very quickly. Right, we can get rid of the autopilot now. Quite low on the approach. Right, let's bring the flaps up. We don't actually need flaps for takeoff, to be fair. Heading is set, altitude is set. Let's bring the power back up. We'll go ahead and try again. Let's go heading. Flight level change. Dial that up to 1. Ooh, geez, that's far. Can get the autopilot to take over. Okay, we can also flip our frequency back to the VOR, and we want to dial our course again to 301. Okay, we'll make our turn here. Okay, so same thing again, up to 6,000. We'll make our downwind turn shortly. And then intercept that radial, the 301 radial, out to MROC at 12 DME. We'll then make a slightly more than 90-degree turn. We need to turn earlier this time. That's what we messed up on the previous attempt. And then follow the DME arc. This time I'm not going to turn my course all the way around the first time. keep it on the other side so it'll make it easier to find that 269 radial that we need to be aware of. Yeah, we're also not going to have it on the GPS because we obviously flew that procedure, so it clears those waypoints as we go, but that's okay. I suppose we could load it up again. Okay, it's not going to have this 301 radial because it's going to want us to go direct to MROC, so that's going to be slightly different. Alright, watch our power because we're leveling off at 6,000. Okay, let's go ahead and our nav here so that once we intercept that, it'll automatically go and fly that radial, which should be quite soon. Go. That seemed pretty violent, that turn, if I'm honest. And ever since the latest update, what are we on, 9 now, just had these massive stutters all the time. Tried everything, so if you have any ideas how to get rid of that. I know Microsoft did acknowledge that stutters were an issue in this update, but yeah, something I just have to deal with at the moment, I suppose. It's actually been a couple of updates recently that have caused stutters like that, and then all of a sudden it gets fixed. New update comes out and it happens again. Right, let's keep an eye on our DME, 7.7 now. Go and prep our heading bug so long. Okay, there's 11 miles. So I'd say probably 11.5. We'll start that turn. So like about now. And let's dial our course down. We were we'll call it 300, so we'll go down to 290. We'll overshot a little bit. But a lot better. We've kept it within 4 DME or so. And we also bring it in a little bit because we're going further now. But we actually want to come a bit closer. Let's call it 1.5 should be good. Okay, let's turn this another 10 degrees. And pretty much perfect where we are now, so let's line that up nicely. Okay, let's go ahead then and we'll bring this down again. So that would be 10 degrees. And we'll do one more to that 269 radial. And to fly parallel to that. Or perpendicular to that, I mean. Okay, we're about to cross that, so let's flip over again to our ILS. And oh, it automatically set. Forgot about that, that's pretty cool. And that means we can now start our turn. Go and intercept the ILS. Yeah, see, we're turning quite early there. Obviously that 269 radial to start the turn is made for faster aircraft. Alright, let's go 5,100 vertical speed. We can arm approach. Then we are pretty much set. There's the airport and the runway over there. I think a little bit better this time. We were too early on that turn to final, but that's probably because we were a little bit better prepared this time. Meant that we were ready earlier and we started the turn earlier. Last time we actually started it much later than that radial, which meant we ended up actually closer to the line, to the ILS, I should say. Yeah, let's synchronize our heading just in case. We're not going to be doing a go around this time. We're going to be doing a full stop. We should intercept the ILS at 5.7 DME. To the chart. Okay. That's correct. Glide slope is captured, so let's dial our altitude back up to 6,000 in case we do a round. And I mean, at this point, we might as well just hand fly it. So we're pretty much good to go. Coming up to 3 DME, so let's bring the power back so we can start doing things like gear and flaps. Okay, flaps 1. Put the gear down as well. Yeah, we'll flaps full. Quite a bit of power because of all the drag. Oh, it is quite bumpy every now and then. But here we go, and then we'll just taxi back into the ramp. So I think that was fairly successful. I don't know if that's the best way to fly a DME arc. That's the method that kind of makes sense to me. I think we were pretty successful. Let's go strobe lights off, landing lights off, crack the flaps, taxi into the ramp. I can't actually remember which parking bay we started at. I think it was this first one. This bus is doing its own thing here. I do remember that we started facing that way, not expected. Really, bus? All the places you could have gone. I think we're supposed to be facing the other direction. It doesn't really matter because no. Right. Parking brake. Okay, so I wanted to do it once more just for some practice and kind of up the stakes a little bit. So we've changed the weather, as you can see, and it's going to make it a little bit more challenging. But let's go ahead and try it once again. So this time I'm not going to set up the GPS. I'm going to leave it as is, just to make things a little more difficult. Right, let's come in here. Let's set this back to our viewer, and we want to set this course to 301. I think this way it's probably quicker. Okay, there we go. Altitude is set to 6,000. Heading wheel sync again once we're on the runway. Right, let's go out and taxi out to the runway again. Now, I'm not sure what the clouds are like. A little bit higher up. I'm expecting we'll stay. I'm just using the overcast. Sorry, the rain preset. But I'm expecting we will be in the clouds the whole time. I'm on the edge of the taxiway, using it as the middle line. What? Okay, we're gonna keep flaps up for this takeoff. Let's go landing lights. Strobes. These glass displays are really amazing. I mean, even if there was zero visibility outside here, we could still taxi in this display, which is just incredible. Right out that way where we're going to be going. There towards the threshold looks... Hey, here we go. Let's sync that heading. Be close, like 1 degree off. Yeah, let's bring the gear up. Right, we'll put the autopilot on. Let's come down here. Just adjust the speed. Right, okay, so it looks like we are kind of breaking through that overcast layer, but not entirely. Now we are. Oh, okay, I think we're just leaving that patch. But otherwise, everything is all set up. So maybe we'll do our turn in this kind of clear patch here. We'll be turning a little bit earlier than the previous runs, but that's fine. I'm just doing a circuit. So let's go and make our 90-degree turn. Okay, well, we're inevitably going to end up in the clouds again. So let's go and make our downwind turn. Actually bring the power back a little bit faster than last time. Not a huge deal. Go back into the rain. Okay, let's arm our nav mode so we can intercept that radio. Yeah, there's the airport. Right, there we are, pretty much on the radial now. Right, now we just keep an eye on our DME and our speed. Speed's pretty good. 5.1 DME, so once again, I'd say 11. What did we do last time? 11.5. That was fine. Right, 8.2, 8.5 coming up. Speed's good. Right, coming up to 11 DME now. Right, let's start our turn. A little bit earlier than last time, I think. And we'll dial this down 10 degrees. Look at that, perfectly on 12 DME. Okay, so we'll turn 10 degrees left, 10 degrees left. We are starting to get further, so we can, let's pull 5 degrees off. Right, there we go. Let's turn 10 again. Go down to that 269-degree radial. Bring this down 5 again because we're still staying 0.1 away. So let's see if we give it 1 dot and then turn, if that works a little better. Look at that, we're perfectly on 12. Okay, just under. I think that's pretty good. That was quite quick, maybe 1.5. So a bit fast. Start our turn now. Let's flip this over. We can already arm the approach down to 5,100. Okay, so that turn was a bit late, so I think 1 dot over was actually perfect. Yeah, now just keep an eye on the DME. So about 3 DME we'll start doing, start slowing down, putting flaps and things out. Yeah, there's 5,100 and we're coming up to the glide slope now, once again at 5.7. That's interesting. Our QNH is obviously off. So let's go and see if that's changed. Yeah, there we go. Quite a big difference. Right, let's reset 6,000 in case we go around. Already starting to slow down. What's that, 4 DME, so that's cool. There's 3 DME, 1. Gear down as well. Okay, let's go flaps full. See the lights now. And we'll go manual. Okay, once again coming in low. It's aircraft. And there we go. I think that was pretty successful, even with the weather as a little bit of an extra challenge. Okay, let's bring the flaps up. Probes off, landing lights off, taxi lights on, which we actually left on, so that's cool. This is like the bus section. I go last time. There. Yeah, I turned a bit early, so we should have come down here. Oh well. Maybe the next video will be taxi practice. There we go. Let's park up and we can go ahead and shut down. Alright, so that's going to bring us to the end of this video. I found that really interesting. It was a bit of a challenge to fly the DME ARC. Next though, I'm gonna have to try doing that completely hand flying, which is what I'm gonna have to do some practice before we get to that point. But as always, if you enjoyed, you know what to do down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.